these are the questions that we had to answer according to meeting 3. These questions were made and answered by Etienne, Alexander, Ronnie and Robin. Question 1. Was Jane's only purpose in ringing Gary to tell him the bad news and argue why? We think that it is her only purpose because of the aggressive way of talking during the telephone conversation. She's only focused about getting the lower price and not showing any embarrassment or sorry feeling at all towards Gary, even though they have a very long business relationship together. Question 2. Were you impressed with the way Gary handled the first telephone call? Give your arguments. I think he managed very well. He first tried to persuade her by summing Vanguard's positive points, but he also started and tried to tell her that their cooperation together is very important for him, but will not be maintained at all costs. And by giving her a feeling of disloyalty and the risk of leaving the best company, he hopes that she will agree with perhaps a compromise. Question 3. Were you impressed by the way Gary handled the talk with his boss? Give your arguments, of course. I liked his way of approach. He's honest and direct, although I think he knows in advance it will be a useless outcome because of the policy the company has. That's why in the end I think he is a little bit too beggy towards his boss. Question 4. Who is to blame for the situation and why? I think there's no real party to blame in this situation. In our point of view, you can say Jane should stick with the company because she has good experience with it. But on the other hand, $22,000 is a lot of money, and you always stray for as low as costs as possible, of course. Especially if there's a competitor with the same service but lower price. But what I don't like is the Vanguard's policy, and this is also question 5. I don't like the fixed price policy because you don't give the salesman any opportunity to have a conversation about the price. I would personally go for a system where you put your normal price, which now is $429,000 in this case, to, like, for instance, $460,000, and let the salesman have a margin of $31,000 to get to an agreement with the customers. That way you can give the customers the idea that they won by giving them a huge, between brackets, discount, but you still meet your internal goals. But what I do think is Gary's fault is that he shouldn't have told his boss about the sale until it was an actual deal. It's just making your boss happy, even though you know it's not 100% sure yet. This is what happens when you do such things. Question 6. What would you have done if you were Gary? Could you have argued in his case better? Tell the group how. Well, I would be a bit harsher towards Jane, because you know the Vanguard's price policy, meaning it's useless to go to your boss and ask for a $22,000 discount. A simple take it or leave it for that price would be my way of explaining Jane that that's the only way we will be doing business, even though it's a very important customer for Vanguard. And then the last question, which is what do you think of the solutions Gary came up with in his memo? I think the solutions are really well found, as long as he maintains is open to his customers about the changes he makes in the service contract or in the machine's capacity. If he decides to do these implementations without telling Jane, I think it's a criminal fact, and that's not